Okay, materiality. This is a slightly fiddlier topic. I'm not going to get into too much on the technical side of things. There's just a few key points that I think I will often trot out when I'm trying to have a conversation with a client around scoping and into the more detailed nitty-gritty of any one particular model treatment. So yeah, it's a fiddly little topic. Now, the key conversation I have with clients gets down to kind of differentials. When you're talking about materiality, it's always good to understand the impact that a data point is going to have on a model. So for example, if I have a revenue number, that's just a value, and that has a direct impact on the outputs of the model. By comparison, if I have, say, a rate as an assumption, that has a second order differential on the outputs of the model. A rate as a differential is less material in terms of its impact. To take this one step further, changes in rates have much less of an impact on the model from a materiality perspective, because you're starting to get into third, fourth, fifth differentials in terms of their numerical impact. Now, whilst it is a little bit geeky and a little bit on the technical side, it is very important to understand the concept of differentials when you're starting to get into materiality, because what it allows you to do, particularly if you're delivering models to your clients or end users, is it allows you to dial back on functionality that you don't think they're going to necessarily get benefit from. For example, and this is the classic example that I always use when we're talking with analyst managers and directors about kind of scoping and structuring models. If you were to look at foreign exchange modeling, there's two kind of key ways in which you can lay out assumptions. On the one hand, you can give the client a forward curve of assumptions, or you can give them a closing or a current foreign exchange single point assumption. Now, from a materiality perspective, the difference between having a single assumption versus a profile quickly comes down to differentials. So the client that is saying, I want to have a forward curve, is saying that they want to differentially alter the exchange rate between periods. Now, the impact of that from a materiality perspective is incredibly low relative to just having the assumption point anyway, because you're talking about a differential of a point that is going to use to translate things. So you're starting to get again into the materiality of the change versus not being able to change the data point. It moves into second, third order differentials. It just is not material. Now, the reason why I use this example is that it starts to also have a very material impact on the structure of a model. So for example, if my client wants to build in a forecast set of profiled assumptions, materiality wise, it doesn't make sense. But from a logic perspective, it then means I have to start to build in things like foreign currency translation reserves. I have to mark all my working capital to market potentially. So what I'm actually doing is completely ignoring materiality and blowing my model up. Now, once you start to get to that kind of director partner level, if you're building models for clients, your ability to spot pinch points and trade materiality for, to basically, for want of a better phrase, stop your clients from hanging themselves becomes a crucial skill. And again, with this sequence of videos, all we're really trying to do is just get you to think more consciously of things like differentials, about materiality, about pinch points within models, so that you can actually scope a model that is perfect for purpose and ignores a lot of the pitfalls that those that aren't thinking about these things readily fall into.